I'm logging in now.
I hate you, Cookie. Bye.
I know you do.
A screening service? Welcome to $2 Steak, a pro wrestling podcast. I am your host, Aaron Varnum. Joining me today, as always, Tolbert.
Present.
Cookie.
It's your boy.
And driving in shitty Ohio right now, Big Mike.
The Road Warrior.
Woo! Long haul dad van currently.
Did you piss in a jug?
I ain't pulling over.
No, we do have Elliot's. We do have Elliot's urinal. We haven't had to use it, but I did the math, and by the time that we get home, in the last month, we'll have spent over 52 hours driving.
Thank God you have a comfortable, delightful minivan to do all this traveling in.
It does make it a little bit easier when you can just turn on the TV for the kids and they can kind of zone out.
How is that delightful? The ride of the van, does it feel like you're driving on air in a cloud?
I mean, it's pretty smooth, and I'm getting pretty good gas mileage, so I can't complain.
You said it's smooth, like just like the ocean under the moon. It's the same as the emotion that I promised you.
Aaron,
Are we pitching a commercial for
you
Honda?
bring out these lyrics, yeah. Like, what are you doing, dude?
I'm trying to keep a cat from jumping on my equipment right now, so that is what I'm doing. Mike, why are you in Ohio?
Oh, it was we did a little impromptu trip to Ohio to celebrate Elliot and his cousin's third birthdays. They're separated by like just a couple of days, so we found out that Amanda's cousin from Nashville was going to be in Ohio with her kid, and then it turned into a dual party, and it turned into, Mike driving to Ohio and back in the weekend.
Well, you're saying that it's a dual party. Was it like a professional wrestling match where you would boo the other kid when they were opening up presents, and then when your kid opened up a present, you'd cheer?
Unfortunately, I think Elliot was the heel in the match. He was the one that was antagonizing and doing things a little above and beyond and being a little extra with some of his actions.
Give me an example. How was he trying to get heat, this child of yours?
Well, he has this thing where, he's 3 and he doesn't really understand the process of sharing. And so I'll tell you this. So at one point, they're playing at the little water table, and Elliot sees his cousin has this, it's not even a toy, it's like a piece, an attachment to the water table. So Elliot takes it, and his cousin, is trying to get it back, and Elliot just starts walking away. And so then his cousin follows right behind, and they're just jack-jawing each other up and down, and they go into the little playhouse clubhouse, shut the door, and start swinging on each other all over this piece of plastic.
Well, there you go. Elliot is the heel. Did Hudson walk up with a loaded tennis racket at any point?
No, he did not. I don't think Hudson has heel in him. He is very much a baby face, life of the party, get everybody kind of hyped kind of kid.
He's the hero of the locker room.
Yeah, and if anything, he was the one getting, tossed to the ground for GP.
He's a good worker. He's booked. He
sells the baby face very well. He can cry on command. And he can clap like the best of them, get the crowd riled up. So.
Does Hudson ever twirl his hand and put it up against his ear and trying to get?
No, but he was raising his hand when he was getting ready to command everybody's attention and then run into the crowd. And then he likes to clap when you say "Good job, Hudson." So he started clapping a lot lately.
I like the dynamic between your boys. You've got the evil boy who is Elliot, and then you've got the white meat babyface boy who is Hudson. And together, that sounds like a built-in storyline in the future where Elliot turns on Hudson in the tag team division. It's going to be a very fun story for the Maurer boys in the future when they're going up for that tag team title.
We got to get them to Old George South, man. Get them smartened up.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how they go about creating that storyline and who's, which way does the manager go? Does the manager go with the heel or does the manager go with the babyface?
Oh my God, you got a built-in, just perfect storyline, Mike. Jesus,
You really did.
Now, Mike, are you going to have the classic one parent goes with one? So, like, Amanda is going to be going with Hudson. She's the face, and Big Mike is going to be going with Elliot.
we could put Amanda on a fork.
Give me down.
I don't know. I think if anything, I would do how people do split jerseys. I think I would do split trunks, and then maybe paint my chest as well. That's how I would kind of sit in the crowd and watch.
Elihud or whatever it says on your thing. All right, so you are in Ohio. Cookie is in Colorado. Cookie, what did you have going on this week?
Man, nothing too crazy this week. I had a friend come into town, so we were just showing him around the town. We just kind of just shot the breeze and just did, watch the Olympics. Shot the breeze.
So Cookie's saying you sat in your living room, smoked dope, and ate cheap food.
We didn't smoke dope. We smoked marijuana, but
Cookie was that deflated person in the old the drug commercials.
His friends.
I was. All of us were. Aaron, I tell you, I'm starting to think that they make up names for these strains because I don't know what the fuck peanut butter breath is. Lemon skunk. There's a bunch of crazy shit that I've just cashmere. What the hell is cashmere?
It's a Led Zeppelin song.
I don't know,
in a
Cookie.
country.
I don't know, Cook, but you need to mail me some live rosin cartridges.
I need to do what, Tolbert?
Just mail me some live resin cartridges, man.
Just say it's CBD. No, it's Delta. What is it? It's
Delta 8.
Delta 8, which sounds like a strain of COVID right now.
It does. I keep thinking about that.
Anyways, Tolbert, you were in Wilmington with me. What's going on?
Man, I'm across town, man. I've been a little under the weather this week. Had to call out a couple of days from work, man. Been fighting this summer head cold.
Head cold, or was it the Delta variant from AEW Charlotte?
I don't know, man. But after returning from AEW, I promptly fell under the weather. So
it's because you shared a bed with me.
Yeah, but you're fine. So maybe you infected me. But so about 3 days, I just had you remember the air mattress I had in the Airbnb? I set that up in the living room, and I dozed in and out of sleep while I binged movies.
And Detroiters, the TV
Detroiters.
show.
It's fucking hilarious. But yeah, so that's been my week. Finally got back to work, feeling a little better. But yeah, man, just been watching wrestling and hanging out.
So anyways, we were going to do – I'm sorry, Cookie. What's
I forgot. I went to practice this week, boys. I went to rugby practice.
Again? His second practice.
Dude, I went Tuesday and I went Thursday. How about
3 practices for Cookie.
Oh, my God. Aaron, let me tell you something. This organization is not like Cape Fear. Let me tell you – I'm going to start with that. They do something called a Henny, like Hennessy. They call it a Henny.
Yeah.
You have to run from one end of the goalpost, or not goalpost, but the tri-zone, to the other end, to the other side, and then all the way back to the other side. So you hitting all 4 corners.
You actually have to condition, is what you're telling me.
You actually have to condition, and when they play touch, Aaron, they call it a run and gun. So they don't stop. There's no kickoffs. It's just you just keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. You just keep going.
Now, Cookie, what is their opinion on your no touch calls?
Oh,
you're notorious at Cape Fear for calling touch when you don't touch the guy.
The beautiful thing about Colorado rugby is that you can do one hand touch. I love it. I can hit him with one hand.
Yeah, so Cookie's the king of no selling at Touch Rugby for
Oh
you.
yeah. Oh yeah, no sell, baby.
You didn't get me. One hand.
No touch.
And he also has the cookie tag, the infamous cookie tag, where he calls touch before he actually physically touches you.
Sometimes I dive on the ground.
Sometimes he never actually does touch you, and on a very rare occasion, he goes, "Yeah, you're right. I didn't touch you." After
on the rare occasion,
touched you.
I can't let everybody go over on me, okay, in practice. I can't let everybody do it. Only a few people.
You're the Hulk Hogan of rugby, it sounds like.
Oh, exactly. 100%. I don't know about that one, brother.
I don't think I'm going to make that trip to North Korea.
You know.
That's a no for me, bro.
That's a no for me, brother.
Anyways, so this week we were going to do a Dory Funk week. I'd done it. I had written a phenomenal rundown. I've got it ready for us for next week. I just want to give you a little taste. We found a Dory Funk against RVD match, which is absolutely chef kiss and a half.
And not, it's something. It's something. Speaking of no selling, we'll get to that next week. But.
Yeah, all I want to say is, guys, if you think you know wrestling and you've never seen Dory Funk do the RVD thumb taunt, you don't know wrestling. Is what I'm going to say. Because Dory Funk in that match does the thumb taunt, and it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Anyways, so we got some bad news this week. Bobby Eaton, beautiful Bobby Eaton, passed away. So I decided to kind of punt and change up the rundown. Beautiful Bobby Eaton is somebody that we've talked about a bunch on this podcast. We've watched a lot of his matches, and we really appreciate his style. He's somebody that is willing to do whatever it takes to make a professional wrestling match good. He's willing to give it all. He's willing to take every move in the book. He's willing to sell. He's willing to put people over. Bobby Eaton, a very important professional wrestler and a very important human being. I'll tell you, about 10 years ago, I had a professional wrestling show, Midnight Mayhem. We've talked about it a lot. David Harwood, who is Dax from AEW, which we will talk about here in a few seconds. He booked the Midnight Express, Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton, in a match against the Dawson brothers. I got to witness, film, and produce this match. It was something special. They didn't do a lot of high-flying moves because they were a little older at the time, but the Dawson brothers were able to have this match with these guys, and then afterwards I was able to talk to these two performers. Bobby Eaton was the nicest human being. This was the first time I ever got to experience a true legend, somebody that had wrestled everybody in the business. Bobby Eaton was so sweet, such a super nice guy, and that's something that you hear from a lot of the other professional wrestlers out there. Everybody was shocked by the passing of Bobby Eaton, and we just wanted to kind of honor him today on the podcast. What I know Tolbert has had some experience with beautiful Bobby Eaton throughout his matches, and we'll go into the Blue Bloods here in a little bit. Tolbert, what are your memories of beautiful Bobby Eaton?
Man, it's someone that when I talk to some of my older family members and some of the old heads, Midnight Express always comes up, man. There's like, man, Midnight Express, beautiful Bobby, man. It's someone, I've gotten a lot of his matches, and like I said, it's someone who's always been talked about, always kind of been around ever since I've watched wrestling, just through like influences like my uncle and stuff like that, But yeah, someone that's always been around. I've always enjoyed watching. Like I love Midnight Express matches, man. I love the Blue Bloods, all that stuff, man. He's just so great and so entertaining. But it's just like, he's up there with Chief Wahoo. It's someone that's always mentioned, and you always been around.
You mentioned that he's always around, and it's funny. Like when I was growing up, beautiful Bobby, he's always in a match on WCW Saturday Night. And I never really appreciated him until later on, where I'm like, oh, this guy's just losing all the time. Like you don't appreciate his style. You don't appreciate how good this guy actually was. It's almost like George South, where George, you don't see him get a lot of W's, but he looks phenomenal losing.
And most of the time he's playing the heel. He's playing the bad guy, you know. So, you know, he was phenomenal at that, getting heat for sure. And the ladies loved him and the men hated him.
Cookie, I know you're a little bit past the time of Bobby Eaton. Bobby Eaton was kind of on the tail end of his mainstream career when you started getting into wrestling. Have you learned to appreciate Bobby over the past year and a half? Actually almost 2 years at this. No, it's past 2 years at this point.
It's past 2 years now.
Holy shit.
It's crazy. I would definitely say I have. I said I've only had a few of his matches, but Midnight Express, I really enjoy them. You know, I really enjoy watching their matches, and I really enjoy Bobby Eaton selling. That man can sell his ass off. You know, he's going to make what'd you say?
Absolutely incredible seller.
Oh, absolutely. He doesn't. I mean, I haven't really seen him go over as much in his matches, but I mean, I've only had a few, so take that with a grain of salt. But still, it doesn't matter because the man's a good worker. At the end of the day, the man can work his ass off.
Now, Mike, coming into this, you weren't familiar with professional wrestling. You didn't grow up watching wrestling like the rest of us. But Mike, I think that you became like appreciative of Bobby Eaton sooner than most.
Absolutely. I mean, I think one of my first matches was a rock and roll midnight match. And initially, was it 2019? Fantastic. I thought we did a rock and roll as well. I've done a couple early on because you were like, you need to watch these guys. And I think initially, as somebody who had no idea about anything, at first you're taken aback by the physical appearance and kind of mundane. Not like they're not huge, they're not fast. They look like two dudes. Especially Bobby, he's a little thicker, and you see the mullets and all that sort of stuff. But then you quickly can start appreciating their work rate and like the quality of the crowd dynamic that they have and what they're able to accomplish within 15 to 20 minutes. So yeah, I definitely. I haven't seen as much as I probably could or should. And I sent you that YouTube link that has like 10 hours of midnight matches and like the best of the Midnight Express, which is Bobby was the one that like stayed the whole time through that process, right? Because there was like Stan and then Dennis, right?
Yeah, it was Dennis then Stan. And it's funny, like when I was kind of getting into video production of professional wrestling, and I was traveling. I would travel with David around the Carolinas. We'd go to various promotions and stuff and try to get matches here and there. He was a bootleg wrestling tape trader. So David, Dax Harwood, who was on AEW every week, was the guy that was going on High Spots and ordering these bootleg DVD compilations of professional wrestlers. And the one that he put above all else was his Midnight Express, like 10 disc DVD compilation. And it was funny. Mike sends me, somebody has uploaded all of those DVDs on YouTube. And I was able to kind of scrub through that and kind of see some of these matches that David always talked about. Speaking of Dax Harwood, this week on AEW, boys, what happened? What happened, Tolbert? You weren't able to see it live. What was it like living vicariously through our group chat on Wednesday night?
I was at work and I had my phone right there and just peeked down to, check messages real quick. I saw that I had one and I pulled it up and I went, old grumpy Uncle Dax put us over.
Big time. We were on our brand new Dory Funk shirt. If you haven't gotten yours yet, we have a limited number of large, extra large, and maybe like one or two mediums. But I know that none of you thick boy wrestling fans are mediums. You guys are large, extra large, and maybe even double XL.
You can cut the sides out, stretch it out.
We've got like two I think double XL's left. Anyways, he wore our shirt during a phenomenal pre-taped promo. Really good looking shirt on AEW Dynamite, which got 1.1 million viewers. So 1.1 million people potentially saw the Dory Funk Sex God t-shirt. We had some great traction on social media. Mike, what was it like living through Twitter at that time?
It was pretty cool. I was actually hitting it up on Reddit too a little bit through the live channels and stuff, just seeing if we can kind of cover all our bases. I don't know. It's just really cool that he did it. He was willing to do it. It looked amazing because he had the mauve shirt with the black leather jacket. He cut one of the best promos I've heard all year. I wish they would let him cut more promos, honestly, because I think Dax is one of the best talkers on the roster. But it was just really cool to see it. And then, like, I sent my dad a picture. I was like, "Hey, we made it on TV." And he thought that was pretty cool. Maybe we sell one or two of the shirts because of it.
I did. Yesterday I sent off a couple. So we have sold a couple shirts because of that. I believe that it is a fun way just to get our name out there more. When I made the investment into the t-shirts, it was not like to make money. And of course, we're not going to make money off of Dory Funk, baby. If we were looking to make money, we'd make money off of Terry, right? Am I right?
100%. Everyone knows that.
Dory is the homely sister in that that household.
How did Travis describe our shirt? He said it's like 3 to 4 layers of niche wrestling.
Yeah. And it's funny because the people that have bought this shirt, I look at their Twitter profiles, and they are 4 to 5 layers of niche wrestling. It is a very obscure thing.
But you know what?
It's like everybody. Go ahead,
Mike.
Tolbert.
Oh, I was going to just tell Aaron that, sometimes the homely sister is a more fun sister, so he made the right call on choosing Dory for the t-shirt design.
No, not in this case. The Dory is definitely the more homely sister and less fun sister. Yes, Mike, what were you saying?
Like the whole idea. I feel like the whole idea of like the niche wrestling kind of thing fits our podcast style, right? Because only like 50 to 60 people know and understand and get our references and our content creation style. So I think it's fun to share the love that is Dory Funk.
I'll tell you, boys, last week's episode had the most single day listens of any episode we've ever done, and it completely weirded me out when I looked at the numbers.
It's also a terrible episode.
And it was not a good episode. Like, Jasmine was like, "This was not your best," and I'm like, "Thanks, babe. That means a lot coming from you."
Not every episode can be the best.
Every episode could be the best, and we're looking at these numbers, and I'm like, this does not add up. Why did we have so many listeners? Are they all MDK all day fans? Is that what the deal is? Is it because we talked about Nick effing Gage? I don't know, but it blew me away. So
maybe that's the formula.
Maybe we can ride some of this momentum going forward. 2 years is enough for us to kind of break through, right, boys? We've paid our dues at this point.
100%.
Still paying those dues.
Still paying those dues. Cookie, I still have to send you your shirt.
I'm still waiting on it. Waiting on it.
I realized it, and I'm like, fuck, I have not sent Cookie his shirt. Cookie, please DM me your contact information. And
Will do.
And also, Cookie, if you need to wear it to rugby practice, see if any of your rugby friends like professional wrestling, and then we can go forward there.
I actually have a guy that does retro t-shirts. So just throwing it out there. If we want, I might have a guy.
Okay. So talk to this guy. You need to start wearing wrestling things at rugby practice so people can be like, oh, I like wrestling too. And then you kind of bring them into the fold. So nobody knows at this point in Colorado that you have a professional wrestling podcast, correct?
Well, so actually, Aaron, I wore my NWO Too Sweet shirt on Tuesday. And that was when I started talking to the guy about retro t-shirts and stuff like that. So I'm getting the ball rolling, but no one knows I have a podcast yet.
Oh, we're getting the whole time.
We're getting there.
Well, Cookie, right. What you can do is just make sure you spam everybody at rugby practice and let them know that they can follow us at @$2steak_ on Twitter and Instagram, and find us on all their podcasting sites, and they can DM us if they want a t-shirt.
Good idea, Mike. That's a great idea.
I'll tell you, last night, Tasha Boo, you know, the world famous Tasha Boo.
Absolutely.
She's like Ric Flair. She's the weed smoking. I got to think of three: weed smoking, poop vomiting, something son of a gun. Tasha Boo last night had her birthday party. Jasmine and I bought the pay-per-view. UFC pay-per-view, which was not good, by the way. So if anybody cares about UFC, whatever that was last night, it was fucking dog shit.
Yeah, it was terrible. It
was one of the worst pay-per-views I've ever watched ever. But we were watching it at her dad's house. We had crab Louis salad, which is a salad that Jasmine made. It looks beautiful with a delicious layer of crab on top. And she made a dressing for it. We also had prime rib, and between every course, Tasha Boo burnt one down outside, came back, ate her food. It was phenomenal. We had a great time last night. I wanted to bring this up because we already talked about all this other stuff. But Jasmine's stepbrother, Quentin, was there, and Quentin and I talked about wrestling and the importance of wrestling. And Derek, who is Jasmine's dad, talked to us about the importance of Bobby Eaton and all this other stuff. We had a great time talking about wrestling and some good food last night. I will tell you that Derek got to see both itinerations of the Midnight Express live. He is a Dennis fan over a Stan Lane fan. We will talk about that maybe later, which one is more preferential. But let's talk about Bobby Eaton on this week's episode. All right, Mike, for the first match of the evening, you have got the classic Yin versus Yang. You have got the Midnight Express against the Rock and Roll Express.
Correct. This is February 25th, 1990 in Greensboro.
The Greensboro Coliseum.
Wrestle War, which sounds like, was it like one of their like kind of smaller level pay-per-views or events or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, like back then you had your major ones, your Starcade, your I don't even know if Halloween Havoc was around yet. I don't think it was. But Wrestle War was kind of like one of those smaller level pay-per-views.
All right, so we start off with the Midnight Express and their infamous manager, Jim Cornette. And we haven't had a Jim Cornette sighting on the podcast in quite some time. And I just forgot how good of a talker and how good of a promo Jim Cornette is.
He's absolutely incredible. That's why, you know, I'm the one that takes the L for the team and listens to his podcast every single week just to kind of hear him talk, because I love just some of his descriptions and like sayings that he says. He may be old man yelling at cloud, but he is a very, very entertaining old man yelling at cloud.
Now, Aaron, you're going to have to help me out because I don't have any notes in front of me. I just have open road and mountains. So he kept saying like a line in the promo to kind of get over like how big of a deal Midnight versus Rock and Roll is, was, and will be. Do you remember what it was like? Something about history or something like that?
I don't remember specifically, but I know what you're talking about. He did kind of he put over the fact that these guys have wrestled hundreds and hundreds of times at this point, and each time it is a war, a battle, and how important this rivalry was.
All right, so Midnight comes out to the ring. It's Stan and Bobby, because this is in the 90s. And then Rock and Roll comes out, and you get a huge pop. Like, I don't know, it wasn't, as big as a pop as some of like the guys that would come later, like the Road Warriors, something like that. But rock and roll pop in the 90s is still pretty fucking big. And then rock and roll is Ricky Morton, and what's the other guy?
Robert Gibson.
Robert Gibson. So I always forget him. He's the one with the brown hair. Everybody else has beautiful blonde mullet. Early on in the match, we're getting classic cheesy heel manager stuff going on. Cornette is kind of screwing around with the crowd, screwing around with the referee, and I actually like this spot. So it's like 2 minutes into this match, and Cornette does something, and 1 second, the baby's crying.
He muted himself.
We're getting it figured out. We're getting it figured out. And Cornette's like screwing with the referee, and the referee like puts his finger in Cornette's face. It's like, hey man, like stop getting up on the apron, stop touching the rope, stop screwing around, stop being Jim Cornette. And what's Jim Cornette do? He drops the racket, takes the jacket off, gets in there, and he's like, put your dukes up, brother. We're gonna fight. And it's very, I think, odd for Jim Cornette to do that sort of thing. The crowd's kind of loving it, or wanting to see something happen with Jim. And what does the referee do? The referee's like, all right, fuck it, brother, let's go. And the referee starts putting his dukes up. They're getting ready to just old school bare knuckle box this out.
It was one of those things, Mike. And the way, just how Jim Cornette is so over the top with his presentation of the old school putting up the dukes. He looks like somebody that's never watched a real boxing match. He looks like Barney Fife, about to get into a fight.
And this is one reason why I don't actually listen to the Jim Cornette podcast anymore. But it's so flamboyant and over the top, but he shits on everybody in today's wrestling if they do anything remotely kind of grandiose in movement or caricature. And I'm like, Jim, look at you here. Like, look at you. Like, you literally get pushed over the top rope by the referee. And the crowd loved it. And the crowd, guess what? The crowd loves that shit today. So I think he's kind of had a disconnect a little bit. I think he's forgotten where he came from and what he used to do when he goes on some of those rants. But it's just great. The crowd's loving it. It takes up a minute or so. Luckily, the referee was going to go after Jim Cornette some more, and we got some trained killers in there between the Midnight and the Rock and Roll, and they all four come together and be like, hey, we should probably break this up.
Yeah, these four guys who have gotten all this history together, they're like, ooh, yeah. Let's break these two up.
And so, I don't know why, but it was just one of the little notes I loved about the match is the referee just tucking his shirt back in, back to the hard cam, and he's just tucks his shirt back in like he's about to go back to work.
Which is funny because Jim Cornette, for the rest of the match, his is untucked.
Yeah, he just looked kind of like a slob. But it is a classic late 80s, early 90s tag team match. It's a classic midnight rock and roll match. You get the baby faces getting some offense in, kind of showing the boys what's up. And the thing I loved about it is you got JR. You got two goats on commentary, and we've talked about different goats, some of my favorite commentary teams. Now, this wasn't my favorite commentary team as a team, but we got two of the greatest to do their jobs ever. We got JR, Jim Ross, and we got fucking Terry Funk on commentary.
Who?
It was
what?
Terry Funk. Yeah. So we got Terry frickin' Funk on commentary, talking and putting the boys over, doing a little, hamming it up a little bit. I think we got a little heel Terry Funk going on, talking about how he should be in the heavyweight title picture a little bit. And what I like too is it reminded me of quarantine, because occasionally Terry was stepping on Jim in terms of calling out the moves and calling out the play-by-play.
Are you comparing?
Did you notice that, Aaron?
Are you comparing Cookie to Terry Funk. Is that what you're telling me?
I love that. I love that comparison.
No, I'm comparing the approach with which they carried themselves on color commentary. Cookie is in no way near or could sniff Terry Funk's jockstrap in any sense of the word.
I agree with that.
You're not booked.
I just want to know if I'm booked.
You're not
You're not booked. You're not booked.
You're not booked. You're not booked.
I want to tell you guys, during that matchup, it was a different kind of color commentary, and it was very interesting. Terry really kind of got into the psychology of the match and was telling things that I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. So it was a different kind. I'm used to Jerry Lawler or somebody that just kind of like throws in an aside, but it's not like really a hard analysis of the match. And I think Terry did really well in it.
And this is why I really like JR's early stuff, even leading up into the 90s and into the Attitude Era. Tony Schiavone still does it a little bit today, and JR does a little bit too, where they're keeping kayfabe alive. They're talking about why somebody did something or what, like they're even covering for botches and just kind of explaining through why what happened and why it might not have looked great or why it looked amazing. And that's why it's just a really good match in that regard too. But if we get back to talking about the wrestling, so it's a classic 20-minute, 25-minute match consists of 3 acts, right? So it's the good guys getting a little work in, and the crescendo of the good guys getting a little work in at the beginning of the match is this move. I forget exactly what happened, but they're screwing around in the corner, and Stan and Bobby come in to try to like do something, and one of the rock and rolls steps out of the way, and Stan and Bobby hit each other and both roll out of the ring. And then there's some contention, and Cornette has to like slow it down and be like, "Hey boys, like it's not us. Don't blame each other. We got to go after these dudes."
Right. Stan actually like pushes Bobby outside the ring. Bobby takes a bump, and like you can see that there is a tension between them during that.
And so I like that, but it leads into the second part. They're going to get their heat. They start working Ricky Morton up and down for the next 12 minutes. Like I don't think what's the other guy's name again?
Robert Gibson.
Keep wanting to call him Bobby. Robert Gibson, like he's just on the corner. He's trying to help, Ricky as best he can, but just Ricky's taking the heat, and which is really cool. I mean, Ricky Morton, still does. I watched the guy hit a Hurricane Rana like 6 months ago, right? So, but it's just really good, classic wrestling. And then we get towards the end, and the pace starts picking up, and that's where you kind of know it's like, all right, we're going to get to the finish. Fast forward, we get the classic heel manager spot where you get an Irish whip, ref's distracted. Cornette hits Ricky in the back. He does kick out on 2, gets the hot tag. Robert Gibson comes in to, again, huge applause and roars and screams from the fans. They talk about Dick Jackson having one of the best hot tags in wrestling. And I'm just kind of like, whatever, because it just feels so choreographed when he does get in there, because he does literally the same shit. Like, it's like the same 4 moves in a row. But Robert Gibson gets in there, he does his thing. You think they're going to win. Midnight does kick out of the 2 counts. Then we get a little bit of Midnight. They look like they're about to hit their finisher. Ricky Morton comes in out of nowhere and it looks like almost tackles one of the Midnights, and then Robert Gibson with a classic roll up, and then he locks the leg on the backside of the roll up. If they do that normally, I don't ever remember seeing it, but I thought it was a really cool thing that he rolled him up and brought his leg and swept it around to really pin it down. Rock and roll win, and then they get the hell out of there.
I had never seen that finishing sequence was so neat. It was like they had a double team. Then Ricky came in and tackled Bobby, took the double team off, and then the roll up. It was something that was very interesting.
It looked fresh. It looked realistic. They probably had done it on house shows and that sort of stuff before, but I've never seen that. And it kind of took me, I was like, oh my gosh, it looked really good. all in all, I like, they do it well. They're professionals. They've done it, you said, hundreds of times. They had the crowd just eating out of their hands. I do love and wish that we could get some more cheesy manager heel gimmick, like just enough cheese. I guess the guy working, what's his name, working with the Elite right now from Impact?
Don Callis. Don Fallis.
So I think I think he's getting into it a little bit, which is cool. And kind of finding that role, but it's like just enough that like there's comedy, there's realism. I just really like it. For today's crowds and today's overly medicated ADHD adults, I think 25 minutes is probably just a little too long. But overall, I really enjoyed it.
I was watching the match, and it's a long match. And I warned you guys, I'm like, this week we're going to have a little longer matches because that's kind of like what Bobby Eaton's style was. But this match was one of those matches that I'm not bored the entire time. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, I'm into it. And I look down, and I'm like, holy shit, I've just watched 17 minutes of wrestling, and I didn't know, like, it didn't feel like it. And it's a match that is longer, but there's so much going on that like shaves off time that you don't realize it, and you're into it the whole time. And I know, Mike, you don't like longer matches, but were you kind of feeling that as well?
There's occasional like wrap it up. I not even got to wrap it up, but like there's peaks and valleys, right? So it slows down. Hudson really liked it too. We watched it together at 4:30 this morning. So there's peaks and valleys. It's quick and it slows down. You get the thing like with the cornet spot. They went outside like once and hit a ring spot. Like it just slows it down just enough. And then there's a lot of actual wrestling, which is kind of nice. It's lost on pretty much everybody today except our boys FCR. But it is a style that I do appreciate, and I can watch that. I'd watch one of those a week on Wednesdays for sure.
There you go. All right, Mike. Well, thank you for your segment.
Yeah, Mike.
Are you going to be on for the rest of the episode?
I'll probably hang out, make some little comments here and there. I'll definitely have myself on mute so when these kids start screaming, you don't hear them.
He's got nothing else to do.
Shout out Instagram. I think we're up to like 164.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we gained
here we go.
9 or 10 followers this week.
9 or 10 followers is a big deal.
Yeah, thanks, Dax Harwood, for allowing us to ride your coattails to sell a couple T-shirts. Hopefully, people listen to our podcast, and hopefully this week's better than next week. And I think we're heading out of the valley, boys, climbing up to the mountaintop of greatness.
Goddamn right.
I thought we were too, and then it was, it was hard getting us together this morning, but we finally did.
We're here. Speaking of, it was about 4:30 this morning as I'm walking in the door, getting home, and Mike's like, "What time are we recording?" Already up on the group chat, watching wrestling at 4 o'clock this morning.
Yeah,
bro. No, I wasn't asking what time we're recording. Aaron asked at like 11:30 what time we can do this, and I said I can do anything after 10 because I'm going to be on the road.
Yeah, I went to bed after 2 last night because I had a very heel kitten outside my door at 2 a.m. trying to get in, trying to open the door. He put his little paws under. I just hear shink, shink, boo, 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 boo. And I'm like, oh my God, this cat is trying to get in at 2. What in the hell is going on? So I didn't go to bed until late last night. I woke up a little late this morning. That's why we were recording. It's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. We're recording at noon.
We're rolling.
So,
we're rolling.
Yeah, we're rolling. We're doing fine.
We're bugged. We're bugged.
Listen, Terry just wanted a little rub. That's all.
That's right. That's right. All right, for the strong style, Cookie, you have got one beautiful Bobby Eaton against some guy named Ric Flair. Tell me what happened.
Yeah, I don't know who the guy from Ric Flair is. He's probably some type of I don't know, a wheeling dealing type of guy. I don't know. Anyway, beautiful Bobby Eaton. We got the pride of Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah, there's not a lot of. I can tell you, there's not a lot of pride in Huntsville, Alabama, and being the pride of Huntsville, that's a big thing right there. That's a rub.
Hey, look. Just because there's not a lot from Huntsville doesn't mean that Bobby didn't set the bar high. Okay, all you need is one superstar to set that bar high.
So he's beautiful, Bobby, and I want to know, did he get that name purely off of the mullet? Because I'd say the mullet is beautiful.
I think it's an incredible mullet, and if we had Davenport, I think Davenport would rate it a highly rated mullet in his book.
And I wish Davenport was here. I'm gonna ask you guys, if you had to rate it, would you say it's a step between maybe Joe Dirt and maybe Ricky Morton?
Yeah, it's not quite Ricky Morton status. Ricky's got the
flair. Yeah, Ricky's got the flair up top.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he would be working at the Outback Steakhouse at the TGI Fridays with that flair.
Yeah, he can flip you a blooming onion.
Would you say it's better than a Myrtle Beach mullet?
I think it is a Myrtle Beach mullet.
Oh man, and also we got Ric Flair. I gotta bring it up. I guess he also has a luscious head of hair at this time. This is the early '90s. I think this is 1990, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, it's actually around the same time as Mike's match. So there you go.
There, that makes sense then. No wonder Ric Flair lived a fast life. He probably was running away from all those ladies in the front row that were screaming his name as he came down the aisle. Did you see him point in the crowd? I wonder if he just told security that that's the one tonight. That's the one. Come on back.
Send her back. I don't care that she's got her kids with her.
Bring her and the kids back. The commentator said that this is a very unusual match between one half of the Midnight Express and the world champion Ric Flair at the time. Was this rare back in the day, Aaron?
Think about it like this. It's kind of as rare as, when Jericho was wrestling Dax. It's
true.
Somebody that is a strict tag team person at the time wrestling a singles match against a world champion. It is something that you never see. But I think that I had heard that Ric Flair was like, I want to wrestle Bobby. So
I saw that too. I was reading up on that. And I can tell why. The man is, like I said, a great worker. And Ric Flair looked great, but a beautiful Bobby Eaton looked great as well. But let's go ahead and get to the countdown.
Cookies, top 4, number 1.
So you have sellers and then you have sellers. Now, Aaron, I'd like to take the time to speak for the guys on the podcast because I think we can all agree that Terry Funk is the best seller hands down.
Ever.
100%. Ever. Right? I think a very close second, though, is Bobby Eaton. He doesn't just sell the high spot gimmick. No, he's going to sell that first chop from Flair. Not even a minute into the match. He's going to sell that chop like he just got hit with a bullet. It sent him flailing from one corner of the post to the other, and that's how much one of Ric Flair's chops hurt. Boys, would you take a chop from Prime Flair?
No.
I don't think I would either.
Nor would I take a chop from Prime Wahoo.
Oh, fuck no.
I would do it. I would do it just to say I did.
I need like 6 beers, and then I'm like, all right, come on.
A good cross buzz.
And I hope I don't flinch because he might hit me twice. Like, that's how I feel about that.
There's always one coming after it.
So you have number 2, you have sellers, and then you have floppers. That's right, floppers. All I'm saying is Flair had control with a side headlock, and then Bobby pushes him off. Flair rebounds off the ropes. He doesn't just send Bobby to the mat. No, he flops like France's national men's basketball team in the Olympic finals. Bobby not only rolls to the outside of the ring, but he manages to crack his noggin on the guardrail as he goes out. Now that's dedication, my friend. That's dedication.
Bobby Eaton, throughout this match, and now that I think about it, he made Ric Flair look phenomenal. So that's probably the reason why Ric Flair was like, I want to wrestle Bobby Eaton.
He does. And this was not even this wasn't a pay-per-view. I think, what was this? This
was on the main event, which was their Sunday night show, which out of everything, it was just on a random Sunday night.
So obscure. I mean, but like every chop, every punch from Ric Flair. I mean, Ric Flair at one point threw him into the guardrail, and beautiful Bobby Eaton was just flopping all around on the outside. I mean, it was crazy. But it was entertaining the entire time. This was I believe this was like a 25-minute match or so.
Yeah.
And like you said, Aaron, I never got exhausted with this match because there was just so many things going on. Like just so much.
Number 3.
All right, number 3. Now, like I said, there are floppers and then there are real life accidents, which is what I think happened to Flair after he took that tennis racket to the jugular from the Pink Panther himself, Jimmy Cornette.
The Pink Panther.
He was wearing a god-awful pink blazer. And that jacket probably should be burned. I think that would go into the Hall of Fame next to Craig Sager and his atrocious wears back in the NBA days. But anyway, Flair runs after Cornette, and the camera pans out, and Flair's chasing him, and then you don't see Flair. And I'm pretty sure he tripped over the camera cord, and some unfortunate cameraman probably lost his job that night. Yeah. But he sold it. I would give Ric Flair that. He sold for the cameraman. How about that? He sold for the cameraman. You don't see that all the time. All right. I'm going to go to my honorable mentions next. I just want to say kudos to Bobby for taking a beating and putting on a show from a guy that has about 5 moves of offense. I mean, Ric Flair he's not known as an offensive guy, but he made Ric Flair look like $1 million. He already looked like $1 million. Hell, I'll say he made Ric Flair look like $1 billion. You know, Bobby took a guardrail bump. He took a concrete bump. I mean, he did all of this, and it's not even a pay-per-view, not even a tag team match. God, R.I.P. beautiful Bobby Eaton. Am I right or am I right?
Yeah, you're very much right.
One last honorable mention. Have we talked about this? Is it me or does Bobby Eaton look a little bit like Travis? Have we talked about this? I can't remember. I was like, is that Travis?
Yeah. So Travis, if you're listening, and I know you are because you listen every week, and we're going to keep this a secret in the group chat until you hear it. Travis, for Halloween, you need to go buy the most Myrtle Beach mullet you can find, and you could be one half of the Midnight Express. I could probably be. Who am I going to be? Am I going to be Stan Lane or Dennis?
You're definitely Stan.
All right, I'll be Stan Lane. And we might have to get somebody to get some glasses and Jim Cornette. So we will be the Midnight Express. Number 4.
Very last one, guys. Now you have one of my favorite endings and hotspot moments. Flair is hurting at this point because Bobby Eaton has taken over the match. He's already taken all these bumps, but Bobby's taken over this match at this point. He took those 2 tennis racket shots to the face, and Bobby locks on a figure 4 headlock, not a leg lock, but a headlock. Cornette's outside in the ring, and he's throwing up gang signs to the camera. He said, "This is what it's all about, Midnight Express." I don't know what the hell it was.
MXK all day.
Yeah. I didn't realize he was doing mud shows in the 90s. But anyway, Bobby comes off the top rope, and he's looking for that flying knee drop. But Flair dodges it, but he not only moves out of the way, he picks both ankles, and he takes Bobby off of his feet, tries to slap on the figure 4 leg lock. But of course, old Pink Panther himself, Jim Cornette, gets on the apron. He throws his racket to Bobby, not stealth-like. He just fucking chucks it at Bobby. Flair kicks Bobby because he's about to hit him with the racket. The racket falls. Flair picks it up, gives the old Pink Panther breath a whack to the back with the racket, sends him flying out of the ring. Beautiful. Bobby takes an uppercut from the tennis racket. Bada boom, you got Ric Flair holding the belt at the end of the day. Big gold belt. Ric Flair goes over. But God damn it, beautiful Bobby Eaton doesn't go over as well. They both look like $1 million.
I thought it was there was a little bit of irony in it that Bobby is working a figure 4 of himself.
Yes.
Throughout the match, and he might be beating Ric Flair with not a figure 4 leg lock, but a figure 4 headlock.
Yes.
throughout the match,
Yes.
and I thought that was kind of neat. Kind of a turn on what you would expect.
Man, great ring psychology. I wish Terry Funk was calling my match. Unfortunately, I think I don't even know who I had commentating.
You had Lance Russell.
Who the fuck is that?
The king of Memphis. He was the guy that did the Terry Funk, Jerry Lawler empty arena where he's smoking the cigarette and he's like, "Do I have time for another one?"
Yes. Yes, I do remember that. Well, we're not talking about commentary here. We're talking about beautiful Bobby Eaton, RIP, and Ric Flair. Guys, this was absolutely a 5-cookie match. It was great. I enjoyed it from start to finish.
It is tough to find a Bobby Eaton high spot match in the regular sense. A high spot match is usually something that's a shit show. Bobby Eaton is phenomenal. I had to go a little different. What is more high spot than the Nasty Boys? Is
Not
what
much.
I'm getting at.
Not much.
Tolbert, you got the Blue Bloods against the Nasty Boys in somebody's effed up VCR that the tracking was off a little bit on.
It was awesome.
All the more high spot ish, and they left the commercials in, which is always my favorite.
Yeah, so let me set the scene. It is 1995. We are in June of 95. This is WCW Saturday Night Wrestling. Woo! Oh, dude, it takes me right back to my childhood. And I love that the commercials are in it because it shows what time period we are in.
Yes.
Coca-Cola's Red Hot Summer. You're sitting there watching wrestling and you untwist that cap, and there's no better feeling than watching some WCW Saturday Night Wrestling and winning a free 12-ounce Coca-Cola under that cap.
Tolbert, and I would pour that into my beautiful McDonald's Batman Forever glass.
Frosted glass? Oh, yes. Batman Forever is in theaters doing a cross promotion with McDonald's. I had those glasses, dude. I had those mugs. They were awesome, and there's nothing like getting a Happy Meal, but you take it home and you take it out of the box and put it on a plate, and then you pour your Coca-Cola into that Batman Forever frosted mug, dude. You're living the high life just like the Blue Bloods.
Oh, also, and then you wash it all down with a delicious crispity, crunchity, peanut buttery Butterfinger.
Of course. I hated Butterfingers, still do.
How?
Never liked them. I don't know.
How do you not like Butterfingers?
I hate them too.
They're dry and I don't know. They get in your throat. And
I like the taste. But yeah. For me, it's like it just sticks to your teeth, and then you're spend the next 30 minutes picking it out of your teeth. So it's a guilty pleasure. But I won't eat a whole one. I'll only eat the little bite-sized ones.
Did you ever eat Chico sticks growing up?
Nah.
Uh-huh.
Chico sticks are basically the inside of the Butterfinger, and I love those.
Of course. But anyway, that's where we are, folks. It was a golden time to be alive. But yes, many fond memories. But anyway,
95 was a good year. That was like right when Bill Clinton started getting blowjobs, right?
Oh yeah, dude. This is that was a little bit later. That was a little closer to Woodstock '99, as Kid Rock told us.
Gracious.
What did Kid Rock say? Cookie.
I don't want to get political, but Michael, I hope Bill Clinton a pimp.
Bill Clinton's a pimp.
Yes, we've all watched the Woodstock '99 documentary in the last week or so. Cringeworthy, but this was before that disaster. So WCW Saturday Night Wrestling, we got Mr. Tony Schiavone on the mic, Chef Kiss, Classic, Prime, Tony. We get the Blue Bloods coming out, Mr. Steven Regal and Sir Earl Robert Eaton coming out. And they're full British dress, hats and all. Dude, crowd hates them. The crowd, I have to say, the WCW Saturday Night set looks just like a Nickelodeon set. It looks like they might just use it for a Guts or Double Dare afterwards.
Do you know what's funny about that?
What's that?
They were both filmed on Universal Studios.
I knew it. It looks just like a Nickelodeon set. And so does the crowd. Very young crowd. You know, there's some wrestling fans in there, but it's all kids on vacation. But they hate the Blue Bloods. They know who to boo. They knew these guys. You know, they're like, fuck these guys. I hated the Blue Bloods at that time. You know, they come out in their fancy music and their British dress. You're like, dude, get out of here. And who is going to crash this party? None other than the Nasty Boys, coming out to huge applause. The kids love the Nasty Boys at this time, dude. They got the cool haircuts. You got the tie-dye, man. They look like Ninja Turtle villains almost. You know,
they look like Bebop.
Yeah, they have the Rocksteady and Bebop vibe going on, man. And everyone loves them, but they don't waste any time, dude. They actually kind of pull like a classic Midnight Express esque move where they come out, dude, and they just charge in and start beating on people, man. And I love it, dude. No regard for the rules. They go right in on the boys, start bashing them. They even make a comment. Shivani talks about how the ref just has no control of this match from the very start. There is definitely a lack of respect for the rules. But eventually we settle in and we get to it. And Bobby goes to work, man. And you kind of poke fun at my Instagram post of Arnhem, but if aliens landed and said, "What is tag team wrestling?" You show them something with Mr. Eaton in it, dude, because he is the best there was, best there is, best there ever will be at tag team wrestling.
Now, Tolbert, I poked fun at it because I think I would like to hang out with these aliens that come to Earth. Guys. And want to know about tag team wrestling.
They intercepted a transmission light years ago, and they made their way to Earth.
They're
find out more.
They've got little alien mullets, and they're like, "Show me Midnight Express."
But yeah, so this is a 20-minute match, but we do have a commercial break. You know, it's a longer match, but like you said, it's entertaining. The Nasty Boys are a great tag team in their own right. They've got great timing. Their moves are crisp and tight, and a lot of these moves were stiff. And Steven Regal is a great wrestler in his own right as well. He's a big guy, looks like $1 million. But pretty much they beat up on the Nasty Boys for a while, and they answer their brawling style with some technical, you know, on the mat wrestling, which they allude to in the commentary as well. It's the only way you're going to beat these guys that are from the subway that would take a walk in Central Park at 3 a.m. But we get a lot of technical wrestling, a lot of just classic technical tag team moves from the Blue Bloods until the Nasties start to get the upper hand. And once they do, Harlem Heat decides to crash the party. There's like, hey, we hate both these guys. You know, you see them run in, and you're like, all right, they're going to come and they're going to, you know, maybe beat up the Blue Bloods. No, they start kicking everybody. Booker T, throwing spin kicks, jumping all over the place, just bashing everybody. The ref calls a no contest, so the Nasties retain the tag team champs. This is also E for Brawl for All. I think. Was it Brawl for All?
No, not Brawl for All. I think it was Great American Bash.
Great American Bash. Yeah. So this is kind of setting up for Great American Bash pay-per-view match. I imagine it was a 3-way tag between the three. But we get Sensational Sherry tries to get in on the action as well. And they give her, Nasty Boys give her an atomic drop, which is doesn't exactly connect, but she sells it like it does. And amidst the chaos, ring clears, Nasties retain the title. And I went and watched Guts probably, or maybe some Adventures of Pete and Pete. I'm not sure.
I watched Nick Arcade at the time.
So. Oh, I love me some Nick Arcade. But
Tolbert, I wanted to say there was the classic Nasty Boys armpit spot in it. And
always.
Regal selling that was one of the funniest things. For like 2 minutes, he sold how smelly the armpits were.
Oh, they're the Nasty Boys, dude. They're the nastiest. I could smell them through the TV.
They're the Nasty Boys. They've got a bad reputation. Nasty Boys.
Yes. I've got to find, I don't know how they get that tie-dyed print on those cutoff shirts that they had in this match, but that is a dope print, man. That should
it's
be your
almost
next
like
t-shirt.
puff paint. Do you guys remember puff paint shirts?
Or it's like where they put it on the wheel and it spins and you just put the paint on it and it spins it all around.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
I always wanted one of those, but mom and dad are like, nah.
No, you're going to
trashy
everything.
We saw what you did with the creepy crawler machine.
Oh, yo, you're getting deep, man.
What'd you do with the creepy crawler machine?
It was just like shit everywhere. Like you would pour the stuff in there, you would throw it in the thing, you would peek to see if it was all right, but then it would be so hot that you're like, you throw it, and then like creepy crawler goes everywhere. So
no, he made a sex toy out of the creepy crawler machine.
No,
molded his own.
No, I got 2nd-degree burns from the creepy crawler machine. You're supposed to put it in the water to cool it down. No, screw it.
Yeah. But thank you for that nostalgic match there, Varnum.
Boys, that was a fun match. I like the Blue Bloods. Tolbert, give me your HighKu.
Beautiful Blue Blood Bobby. That's a tongue twister there. Beautiful Blue Blood Bobby. Nasty boys get crusty, as they always do. Harlem's in the house.
Hey.
Thank you. All right, well, boys, you know what next week is? We're going to talk about the homely sister of the two Funk brothers. We're going to talk about Dory Funk next week. I was glad we were able to talk about Bobby this week, being able to kind of fit this in to our schedule. Thank you for listening to $2 Steak, a pro wrestling podcast. If you want, send us a DM to pick up your very own Dory Funk Jam t-shirt. Yes,
as
Mike.
seen on TV.
As seen on TV. Hashtag.
Sex God.
Mike, how many more hours you got left?
I think 7.5.
Oh Lord!
So you boys helped get me through a little bit. I appreciate that. It was like listening to a live podcast. That was kind of cool. I got the wife and the oldest asleep. The little one's just watching TV, yelling at me.
So what you need to do, Mike, is you need to put on the Midnight Express 10-hour DVD for Hudson to watch. Get him in the mood.
So I need to get an HDMI to VGA, and then I can actually watch wrestling videos from the backstage if I want for future car rides.
I will tell you that I have a vast collection of wrestling DVDs that you can borrow for these long trips.
Yeah. And after that, you should put on Hardcore Heaven 94 for Hudson. He'll love that one.
No. That's already what happened to Elliot. You don't need to show Hudson ECW. He needs to be raised on WCW.
Yeah, we'll give it a couple years, but I definitely think indoctrinating them with old school wrestling DVDs would be pretty good for them. I mean, I think it would make them better people overall.
It definitely made me the stalwart of good human being traits that I am today.
I hear Hudson cutting a promo in the back right now.
Yeah, he said, "Fuck waiting, give them to me now." That's what he said.
Side note. So this week, boys,
don't hit the music yet.
Don't hit the music. All right, boys. So this week, I went outside on Monday. Monday is usually my day with Terry. Jasmine has girls' night, so she goes and watches The Bachelor with her friends. I went outside with Terry on the back porch. We're sitting there. We're watching the squirrels. That is our entertainment. We watch the squirrels, right? We're sitting there. I'm holding Terry in my hands. A big ass rat comes out from under my shed and starts eating birdseed. And I'm like, oh my God, that is a big rat. Terry looks at me like, what the hell is that? Terry is scarred for life. So then I go into the existential crisis of, what am I going to do? How am I going to kill this thing? Am I going to have the balls to kill this thing? I go to Lowe's the next day. I buy a rat trap. I buy an electronic rat trap. My dad wanted me to get one of those, the regular just
glue trap.
No, he didn't want a glue trap. He wanted the trap that just comes down, like the old school mouth.
The spike trap. Yeah.
He thinks that's
done and over with.
Where to just get it done. So I bait this new trap. I put it out there. The next morning I look and the bait was gone, and it looked like I did not bait it at all.
Wow.
I asked Jasmine, I'm like, Jasmine, did I bait the trap? And she's like, I don't know. There was a lot of peanut butter in the the sink. I don't think you baited it. So I'm like, okay, I didn't bait it. My bad. I'm going to definitely bait it tonight. I did it again. Same thing happened the next morning. The rat gaslit me, boys. I have been gaslighted by a rat. I tweeted at Victor. Victor has not gotten back to me yet. I'm very disappointed. Yes, Cookie.
Aaron, at this point, the rat has gone over on you twice.
Twice.
Jesus.
Wow. I'm not going to allow the rat to win.
We had an incident when I was living up in Ohio. My neighbor was like feeding raccoons and wild animals like garbage. And we saw that we had a rat living under our deck that would go over there and eat his stuff and then come back and live under our deck. So I took care of it with a 20 gauge.
I don't have a gun with me. I would have.
I'll bring over the air. I've got an air rifle with a scope, man. We can go full sniper on them.
I'll do it at this point.
Pick them off.
We watched Suicide Squad this week, and the new movie is great if you haven't seen it yet. But they make you fall in love with a rat in the movie, and I'm like, Jasmine, I can't kill a rat at this point. It's because of that stupid movie.
Well, honestly, Aaron, what if that rat that likely came off a container from God knows where in the United States, because you do live immediately behind the port, what if that rat is raising a group of young and impressionable teenage turtles?
Yeah.
In your shed.
I could be the catalyst for a ninja turtle outbreak here in Sunset Park.
You know, the original was filmed in Wilmington.
That's right. Yeah. And you know what? The ooze is probably still there.
I never knew that. Oh, shit.
One and two.
That's right. The secret of the ooze is in my backyard right now.
Wait, you're telling me Vanilla Ice was in Wilmington, North Carolina?
And Kevin Nash.